Hello and welcome to the BSR Grand Tour here at Brands Hatch. I'm Sam Fitzpatrick and I'm joined alongside by Alex Simpson, who's also on the cameras board tonight. And this is round 8 of the season. Just got a couple more rounds to go, and yeah, we'll be into the closing stages of this season. And Alex, Brands Hatch GT3, it's an interesting combination, but it does usually work really well.
It does. I mean, quite a short track, so overtaking is quite difficult. Usually strategy is where it's sort of going to win out. So it'll be interesting in the third race of the night. The BMW very, very strong here as well with the downforce and things like that. So yeah, should be a good race. I'm looking forward to it, or a good bunch of races, should we say?
Yeah, got the 3 races today, and first one coming up for you very, very soon is a 20-minute race, and then second another 20-minute race, then the third a 35-minute race. Just coming to the end of qualifying now, and on the pole position, perhaps a little bit surprisingly, is Richard Warmingham doing a brilliant job in qualifying. Clearly a Brands Hatch specialist, and yeah, he's got the pole position there. Richard Gafenki in second, really good performance from him. Anwar Smith, the championship leader, in third. Lee Deemer, the second in the championship, in fourth. Ralph Cullinan in that BMW, driving well, in fifth. Chris Daines, he was really strong at Spa. Let's see if he can back that up from sixth on the grid. Jim Flanagan in seventh. Lane O'Connor, good performance from him, in eighth. Max Wright in ninth. Luke Clark a little bit further down than maybe he'd like, but still a solid 10th. Carl Hardy in 11th. Scott Malcolm in 12th. David Ayres 13th. Colin Robinson in 14th. Anthony Jacobson starts in 15th place. A little bit of a smaller grid than we sometimes get, but Alex, it's sometimes can be a bit of an issue on this first lap. That turn 2 can be quite problematic, can't it?
Yeah, it can. I'm sure everybody, as the series is mainly from the UK, is enjoying the lovely sunshine. We've got this bank holiday, so don't blame them at all. And yeah, the 15 cars probably will help the opening lap shenanigans. But yeah, I still think it's good enough grid to have a good race.
Yeah, absolutely. And we're very nearly ready here. Richard Warmingham starting from the pole, and we are away. Warmingham away, okay, but Kafenku's defending got the better launch. Round the outside goes Kafenku, and oh, he's off the track onto the gravel. And Warmingham, that's given him a bit of a break in the lead. Side by side going into turn 2, just ahead. I think that's Cullinan having to defend. But what a terrible start there for Richard Gafenku. It looked like he might be able to get the job done on the outside, but it has not turned out that way. But it's Anwar Smith in second position, following Richard Warmingham, just having a little bit of a look down the inside. It's Lee Deemer, and Anwar a little bit wide here, and Chris Daines trying to get involved as well. And here comes Daines down the
inside. So Daines got a hell of a run coming off of 30s there. And oh, I thought for a minute he was going to make it, but not quite.
Yeah, Ralph Cullinan maintaining a position in 5th, but Daines up a couple of positions. Great start for him. A couple of positions gained from Max Wright, but Richard Gafenku down 7 places into 9th position. It's not what he needed whatsoever. Looked like he might be able to take the lead. A brilliant launch, but it has not turned out that way. And what was the issue there? He just seemed to get offline. Maybe, is it a bit bumpy out there, Alex?
It is a little bit, but just the way the corner sort of falls away from you, you know, you just take a little bit too much speed in, you miss your braking. Got such a good launch, you want to make sure he carried the momentum around the outside as he now looks up the inside of Lane O'Connor. Oh, out of shape again. Doesn't seem to like Paddock Hill turn, does he? Who was that?
Chris Daines. Oh, he got such a good start, but he's had an issue as Chris Daines. He was going for a move, I think, or he was just following Anwar Smith and Lee Deemer, and yeah, had a spin there.
It's unfortunate for Daines.
Yeah, he often has a lot of pace, but yeah, really struggling there. And Max Wright now up 3 places from 9th on the grid, now up into P3. Brilliant start for him, and yeah, it helps Gafenku out as well. He gains a position up into 8th.
Like I said, good start for Max Wright, doing well. The only Audi driver out there as well. So we have literally just a Mercedes field, really. We've got Rafe Cullinan in 4th place in the BMW, and we have it is Colin Robinson in the Ferrari at the back of the pack at the moment. Oh, that's Danes. That's it. More places lost for Danes. Gonna drop right to the back, I think, isn't he?
Yeah, seemingly he's behind David Hare. So yeah, 15th position for such a quick driver. It's frustrating to see it because he should be fighting for the lead, but he's going to be fighting for 14th in a second, I think. But Max Wright still solid in 6th position in that Audi. He's got a chance actually of getting the showdown. If people aren't aware, the showdown will be the final 3 rounds of the season, and that will be the top 6 in the championship after the first 9 rounds. And currently, those spots are being taken up by Anwar Smith, Lee Deemer, Ralph Cullinan, Luke Clark, Jim Flanagan, and Michael Gray. Gray's not around today, so chance for, and neither is Kip Stevens, so a chance for Wright maybe to get himself into those positions. And that will give him a real chance of the championship title, perhaps, because the scores will be all but neutralised going into those final 3 rounds.
Do love the showdown formats, actually. They always seem to work quite well, and yeah, it does sort of reward those drivers who can be sort of consistent over a season to get into it, but then also, you know, kind of resets the points. If you have had a couple of bad races but you just managed to sneak yourself in, you can have a good little run, so your championship's not over and done with, you know, until those last 3 races. So yeah, I like it. Last time by, well, not last time, but time before that, Smith actually put the fastest lap of the race in. Lost a 0.3 of a second this time, so the gap is starting to sort of build up. It's 0.8 of a second at the moment, and it actually looks like Deemer really is the one putting on the charge now on Smith.
Yeah, I don't know about you, Alex, but whenever I'm in like these kind of cars around this circuit, it's incredibly frustrating following another car because you feel as though you have to absolutely nail every corner, and if you push ever so slightly too hard, all of a sudden you're starting to use the grass, and if anything, you're losing yourself time.
Yeah, and it's an old school circuit, isn't it? You know, where there is just a curb and then there's grass. You know, we love these circuits. Get away from the tilkodromes, you know, that are just concrete everywhere and tarmac, you know, wherever you can see. And you know, when you push hard on those circuits, you don't get penalised. You might lose a little bit of time because you're running a little bit wide or something like that, but you're still there. You're only going to lose a couple of tenths. Where here, Brands, if Deemer had been any wider then coming onto the main straight, he'd have nicked that grass and he'd have been around.
Yeah, I was thinking the same thing there. He was right on the limit. It's Richard Gafenku right now. He's wide again in turn 1. Oh, I can't believe it. He does not like that corner, and he's hit the wall. I think he's got away with it, but he was desperate not to lose any more time than he needed to. And he
did hit the wall
to Luke Clark. Yeah, he just scraped it though, didn't he? I think
you can see the damage, can't you? Yeah, just a little bit, but yeah, he's on the ragged edge, is he, today? Thank you. So.
So what happened there? I think he just got a snap of oversteer, didn't he? And kind of had to turn out of the corner and get onto that gravel. And once you do that, it's game over, really. And Lee Deemer's actually close right in on Anwar Smith in their 2nd and 3rd. Just the 0.3 between those 2 drivers. On that last lap, Deemer and Smith were pretty level on times, but Deemer gained 0.2 of a second in the first sector of this lap. And you can see he's right on the tail now of Anwar Smith. Deemer and Smith are pretty certain of getting into the showdown, but the important thing is if you get a race win, you get, I think, 5 bonus points come the showdown. So it's not completely neutralised. You can get a bit of an advantage come the start of the showdown if you can win a couple of races, and these 2 drivers will certainly be thinking about that. But right now it's still Richard warming up in the lead, and Deemer having a look. Smith has to defend, and this is only helping out Richard Warmingham, isn't it?
Oh yeah, Richard, looking at this, I mean, they're close. I just need to quickly see this because I think Lane O'Connor has just got past Max Wright for 6th place. take a look, see if we can see this back on replay. How he did it. It's a little bit wide for Max. Opened up paddock Druids there, sorry, and that allowed Connor to go through. But yeah, back to P2 battle.
Yeah, edging closer down the straight was Lee Diemer. And these two can't afford to fight too much because Ralph Cullinan will be getting involved in that BMW. Should be strong around this circuit. It's been quite painful to watch Ralph actually in previous rounds. Oh, Smith very wide there. But Cullinan struggling down the straights seemingly weakly in this series, especially around circuits like Watkins Glen and Spa. But round here, that car should be very well suited. He's there or thereabouts, so he needs a mistake from one of these two drivers. And Smith having to go right to the inside. And Diemer trying to have a look. And he's got a slightly tighter line, but he's very nearly lost the rear end there, going through turn 1. He's deep in the brakes, but no chance there. Surely Smith can just defend into most of these corners. Ooh, there isn't really a big chance for Diemer to have a chance, is there, Alex?
No, I need Smith just to make a little mistake, really, doesn't he? Just where he can get a better run out of one of the corners. And right now, although I think Diemer is the quicker of the two drivers, I think the margin between them is so small that it really is going to take that mistake from Amoir to make it happen. And while they're having just a little bit of battling and Amoir's checking his mirror a little bit more, that is still allowing Richard just to get away. I think both these drivers, if they were on their own and weren't worried about each other, they would slowly be catching back up to Warmingham. So this is absolutely perfect.
Yeah, and Cullinan on that last lap, in fact, actually lost a little bit despite the battling. Cullinan's failing to really make a big impact. Should just give a little shout out to Jim Flanagan in 5th place. A little bit on his own at the moment, but he's driving a very solid race as we often see from Jim. And yeah, looking strong to add more points to his tally. Currently 5th in the championship. Doesn't really need these points to ensure his spot because he's quite a bit clear of 7th, 8th and 9th in the championship. But he's putting in another very solid performance out there in 5th.
I thought I'd take a lap with Jim. As like you say, he is in a bit of no man's land as he heads around Druids into Graham Hill Bend. Very tricky corner, always want to run wide. You don't get punished there. There's no off track, but if you do take the mickey, then you do. One of the trickiest corners on the circuit, just seems to go on forever and just gets tighter and tighter. So to have a very, very late apex, be very patient. Reasonable line from Jim there. Down the back straight, obviously onto the GP section. And always run this circuit. The little Indy one goes sort of straight on there. Also we fly into the first of sort of like the quick right-handers. This is where the BMW's downforce really comes into play. Merc is pretty tasty here as well because it is quite bumpy. And yeah, Merc seems to soak them up. And one final sort of like a couple of little right-handers. And then we're in coming back towards sort of the Indy circuit to the penultimate corner. Use all the camber on the inside just to hook the car and get on the power nice and early. And then the final corner of the circuit. Always want to get on the power a little bit earlier than you can and take a bit more speed through there. But nice line and a nice lap from Flanagan.
Yeah, it was very neat and tidy from Flanagan. It was a 22.17. Actually gained a 10th on Ralph Cullinan, so still a little bit too far back. Max Wright is a little bit too far back on Lane O'Connor. O'Connor taking a bit of a defensive line into turn 2. But Wright on that last lap gains 4/10 of a second. Luke Clark having to defend from Richard Gafencu just behind as well. Gafencu's not really made the progress he would have liked and still remains in that P9, but perhaps for Gafencu and Danes as well, could be a really strong showing for them in the second race if we get a big reverse.
I think Richard's going to be quick. He's showing good pace. When he's in clear air, he's lapping as quick as the leaders are as well. So I do think he'll have a really, really strong chance. And I think with the wheel that we've got, I think he will be able to. He'll be one of the front runners because, well, the smallest number is 6, so there's a potential.
Oh, he's off. Hang on.
As soon as we pick him up, that's it. That's it. He's going for it, isn't it? He's like, well, it's the smallest number 6. But then they got 8, so he's about sort of there at the minute. But he wants he wants an even number. That's what you want, Richard. So drop down to 10th, mate. You might be all right.
And he could still, I think, mathematically make the final 6 get into the showdown, but I think he's quite a bit off at the moment. He's on 37 points. The 6th place is on 118, and it's 25 for a win. So he'd have to pretty much win every race from now to the end of the season to bring it back. But he's gonna give it a go. Lane O'Connor still in 6th place. Got a little bit of a gap over Max right now. He was 2/10 faster on the last lap, and this is pretty much the closest battle on circuit currently. About 3/4 of a second between the two of them, but just no way through seemingly. What would you say the pace differential has to be, Alex, to make an outright move without any mistakes or anything?
Yeah, I think you're looking at about a half a second a lap, if I'm honest. You know, if you're a half a second a lap faster, then you've got a good chance to perhaps get a move done some of these corners, because you're looking at maybe a good sort of 10th and a half run. But, you know, even that's going to be tight, you know? So I think if you're 1 second a lap faster, you'll get a move done. But yeah, so somewhere in that sort of range, half a second to 1 second, you can get it. It just depends how good the driver is. I mean, if the driver ahead of you, even if you're a second slower, is just really good off the corners, but just a bit slow through the middle, even then it's going to be very difficult to overtake. That's what it's all about here. It's maximizing the exits so that you get as much speed coming off the corner and accelerate as quickly as you can, rather than perhaps taking a bit too much going through and in. And
there's a car in the background. That was
Dima, I think.
Yep.
Yeah, Dima around. Wow, there we go. How things can change so quickly. And he's going to rejoin just ahead of Gafenku. I mean, what difference these two have had, and all of a sudden Gafenku's right on Dima.
Yeah, Dima, Gafenku and Dane should be right up there near the front. And instead they're fighting for these lowly positions. But defensive here from Dima. He's managed to take a more normal line in the end. Gafenku was close. But what a bizarre instant that was. I think he probably just got on the grass on the outside and spun round.
Let's take a quick look at it back, see exactly how he did it. Because on the entry. That's easy too at Graham Hill, very easy. Just trying to maximise the limits. And this is what we said about Brands Hatch, old school circuit. None of that would happen at the Tilke places. You know, you'd be like, what? Oh, that's right. There's a car park to your right. Use it.
I think we're on Apex Racing TV. We're managing to fit in at least one Herman Tilke complaints meeting every broadcast.
Oh, we went for it yesterday, didn't we? As well.
Yeah. Oh, me and Woody a couple of weeks ago, we had a good kind of 20-minute discussion about it in the VTech Super Series. That's on next week, by the way, on Sunday, if you want to catch that. But right now it's Richard Gafenku right on the tail of Lee Dima. It's going to have to be a surprise move, I imagine, but all these now are closing in. But these are 4 really good drivers. You know, Luke Clark is one of the top drivers in this series normally, lacking a little bit of pace today. I think he's close, but not really big and zone down here. But Clark is one of the top drivers in this series. Dima is super quick, as we saw earlier on. Gafenku is super quick, and so too is Dane. So really high quality battle right now.
As Wright goes off on the front of it, and that's what's kind of opened it up. Clark now through. Sorry, that was Dima through on Clark, wasn't it? And Gafenku also passed. Is he going to drop all the way down? Just about holds off. Just about holds off Gafenku.
Well, that's just what Lee Dima wanted. A little bit of an invitation for the pass there. Luke Clark just once again got onto that grass, as you were saying earlier, Alex, and really did punish him. It was a pretty good save in the end not to lose more than one position. But Luke Clark just sitting in behind now.
Because it is a 20-minute race, first 2. And then we have how long is the final race then? I'm not 100% sure. 35. And yeah, it should be good. 1 pit stop, of course. Just a sprint race here. But yeah, so we're just over 17 minutes, so we've not got many laps left now. The front few really have just separated apart. It's really all about this battle for a 6th place right now.
Yep, not two cars within kind of 2 seconds of each other currently in the top 5. But Wright kind of holding up these drivers, I'd say. But full credit to him. Unlike the 3 drivers behind him, he hasn't made a mistake so far and is up 3 positions from his starting position. Also, Lane O'Connor doing well in 5th place. I think that'd be one of his best finishes of the season. And maybe would put him in with a shout of a showdown spot, perhaps if he can back it up with a couple more good finishes today. But it's Max Wright who needs to defend currently. The only Audi out on circuit. And Lee Dima is still right on the toe. Has it got to be a surprise move from Lee Dima? Is it got to just be like a dive bomb out of nowhere? Because Wright will happily just defend everywhere.
Yeah, I don't think so. He looks substantially quicker, so I think if you can shape him up, there we go. Where's it going to be? That's it. Just had to work the move, didn't he? Make Max defend in the corner that was going to put him wide, and Lee capitalised on that. And now it's Max that's under a little bit of pressure from Clark, who of course lost the place to these guys just a couple of laps to go.
Yeah, I must say, I thought Wright had that one covered, but yeah, like I said, just forced the error in the end, just outbraked himself and got onto that grass. And once you do that, he was bound to lose a few tenths, and that was all it took. But now it's just a case of taking home 7th place for Max Wright. Would still be a good effort. We've got, one more lap to go for these guys at the end of this one. I think the leaders are on their last one, and yeah, here comes Richard warming up across the line. It's been such an easy drive for him so far, and he's just going to be able to circulate one more time. He's got a 3-second lead over Anwar Smith, and Warmingham looking strong to bolster his chances for that showdown spot.
Yeah, a great race from him. Really fairly comfortable in the end. Just had a good sort of solid pace, very consistent. He was able to get away a little bit while those two were battling behind, and then from there, the last few laps, he's just been consistently sort of quarter of a second faster. So got good long run pace as well as Richard. That's going to bode well in the final race of the evening too, because I'm sure the drivers won't be taking any tyres during the pit stop. But yeah, of course, they will take a little bit more punishment on them. Couple more corners to go then.
Yeah, I think he's all of a sudden really close to Clark. Just want to watch this one, because just watched my relative, and it's 1.5, 2 tenths, but there's just no way through Bogdavenko. How frustrating, because he could have been fighting for the win, but the man who hasn't had to fight for the win but is still going to claim it is Richard Warmingham. A simple drive for him, simple Sunday drive, and across the line he comes for a brilliant win. His first of the season. Richard Warmingham, fantastic from him. Anwar Smith, the championship leader, more points in the bag for him. And Ralph Cullen, a bit of a quiet drive, but no mistakes as always from Ralph. And Jim Flanagan will come home 4th. O'Connor 5th. Dima 6th. Max Wright in 7th. Luke Clark hung on to Richard Kopenke in 8th and 9th. And Chris Daines will cross the line in 10th. And Scott Malcolm just behind him.
A little pack was sort of quite close, isn't it? But everyone's just sufficiently far enough apart, really, at the end that, yeah, it sort of died down a little bit. So let's hope the reverse grid is going to spice it up.
I certainly think so. With the difficulty of overtaking, it's going to be super tough for these top drivers to make their way through the field. And we can now take you through the results. And it's Richard Warman taking his first win of the season. I think it might be his first podium of the season. In fact, it's a really good drive from him. And yes, his first podium of the season. So well done, Richard. And he is officially into the top 6 now in the showdown. So a really successful race for him. Anwar Smith in 2nd position. Ralph Cullen in the BMW in 3rd. Jim Flanagan 4th. Lane O'Connor 5th. Lee Dima, good recovery from him in 6th. Max Wright 7th, Luke Clark 8th, Richard Kopenke started on the front right, but nearly took the lead in the first corner, in fact, but he ends up in 9th. Chris Daines, what could have been for him, in 10th. Scott Malcolm in 11th, Carl Hardy 12th, Anthony Jacobson 13th, David Ayres 14th, and Colin Robinson in the Ferrari in 15th position, we have a wheel, don't we, Alex?
We do. Give me just a second, and I will bring it up. It's just checking a little something.
Yeah, so the one reverse grid of the day, and then the final round, the final race of the day will be the starting of the final round will be the finishing results of round 2. So it's important this because the difficulty of overtaking out there was kind of proved difficult for the front runners to make their way through the field.
Here we go then. Yes. Well, I'm trying to spin it, but I'm not getting any success. Here we go. Might be just a small one. Oh, it might hold on to 16th. No, it doesn't. It's the smallest we can possibly get as well. 6th place.
Oh, wow. Okay, so that means Lee Dima. Wow. So those couple of positions he made up late on, absolutely crucial for Lee Dima. He will be on the pole. Lane O'Connor will join him on the front row. Catch us then in about 20 minutes or so for the green flag in race 2. See you then.
chair of the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Will it be Tim Hogan? It's going to be Christopher Demerit at the line. Speedway. Will it be Tim Hogan? It's going to be Christopher DeMeritt at the line. Motor Speedway. Will it be Tim Hogan? It's going to be Christopher DeMeritt at the line.
Welcome back to the BSR IMSA Grand Tour here at Brands Hatch. I'm back, Sam Fitzpatrick, with Alex Simpson, and we are here for race 2 of 3 of the evening. And after a 6-car reverse grid, the pole sitter for this race will be Jim Flanagan, and yeah, he'll be starting with Lee Deemer on the front row. And Alex, it was an interesting first race. It was tense at points, but we didn't see too much overtaking. I think that's going to be different for this race.
Yeah, not too different with only the 6 reverse grid, but I think a little bit different. Obviously, the league admins thought that the crashes from the guys out there, so they needed a bit more practice. As we've had 20 minutes in between this one, so
We're not bitter.
Sorry, guys, but yeah. Let's get it done. Let's get it advanced. Get them in and yeah, get it moved on. So, but yeah, everyone will be ready. We've got one extra driver. Kip Stevens has joined us, so we'll see what he can do in this one. He'll be starting from the back, of course. But yeah, it'll be a good. I'm sure it'll be a good race. I would have liked sort of a full reverse grid. I think it would have really spiced it up here. But nonetheless, it'll be good, and I'm more looking forward to the final race where we've got a bit of strategy.
Yeah, definitely. And the session has now been advanced, so we can now take you through the grid. And on pole position is Lee Deemer, second place Lane O'Connor, Jim Flanagan in third position, Ralph Cullinan in the BMW in fourth, Anwar Smith, championship leader, in fifth. Richard Warmingham, our race 1 winner, in sixth. He needs even more points to help his showdown chances. Max Wright starts in seventh. He just missed out on the reverse grid pole. Luke Clark in eighth. Richard Kapenku, watch out for him, starts on the front row in race 1, but he had an off early on. And sorry, is that a pace car?
Certainly is. They did that last time as well.
Yeah.
Last week they did exactly the same. The first one was standing start, and the second one was the pace car. Yeah.
So I'll take you through the rest of the grid. Chris Daines in 10th. Watch out for him as well. Always a quick driver. And he needs a lot of points as well to help his showdown chances. Scott Malcolm in 11th. Carl Hardy 12th. Anthony Jacobson in 13th. David Ayres in 14th. Colin Robinson in the Ferrari in 15th. And as you mentioned earlier, Kip Stevens in 16th. Another showdown contender. He's currently 7th in the championship. Top 6, I'll remind you, get into the showdown. And with Richard Warmingham in 6th place currently on the grid, then it's going to be difficult for Kip to make up the positions to gain some points back.
Yeah, he really didn't need missing that last one, did he, if he wants to get into the showdown? So that would have set him back a little bit. But yeah, if he has 2 more good races. And how many more rounds have we got left until we get into the showdown? There's not many now, is there?
Just the 1 next week.
Yeah, so he might just be able to fight his way back into it if he does all 3 races. We'll see.
Yeah, and Lee Deemer rounding midway through the track. What do you kind of know of Lee Deemer and Lane O'Connor? Lane has been doing quite a few leagues recently, and I must say I think he's made significant progress in recent weeks.
Yeah, well, I didn't realise that. Is he friendly with Joe from the AOR series? I might be wrong on that one, completely wrong, and apologies if that's right. But I've seen Lane in a few, like you say, a few series, and I think if this is the right person, then he's sort of come into iRacing fairly recently, and just starting to build up a little bit of pace in there, and that's something we've seen in the leagues as well. But if it's not the right person, then I'm talking utter gibberish. But still, he is still, sort of new to sort of us on Apex Racing TV, and he is starting to work his way up the pack and the pecking order a little bit. So as we often see with people who come into the series, they start sort of back of the pack or and they slowly work their way to mid-pack, and then you might get the odd few that sort of break into sort of, you know, top 5, top 10 contenders.
Yeah, he'll be looking for the race victory here as we round the final corner. Lee Dima on pole position. When will he put down the throttle? And he's gone. He's got a brilliant launch. Lane O'Connor was a little bit slow off the start. Jim Flanagan's going to have the inside for turn 1. Ralph Cullinan just waiting in behind. And down the inside goes Flanagan into turn 1. And he's got the move done. And O'Connor just losing out into P3. Warmingham now got the Audi on the inside of Max Wright. Gafenku side by side with Chris Danes. That's an important one. And just about losing out there, and Max Wright just going wide, and now here comes Danes as well, getting past Wright.
Yeah, we've got Spinner in the background as well. Jacobson is around.
Oh, and Cullinan wide in the background, and he's going to be under pressure, I think, from Chris Danes, who's got a really good start up. Got a really good start up, 4 positions already, and around the outside, Warmingham is next to Danes. Brilliant start for him, and Warmingham actually up 1 position as well.
I mean, Dane's up 4 spots already. A very, very good opening lap for him. He'll be delighted with that, as Cullinan has a little look, see if he can get back past Chris, but has to settle in. Everyone seems to now have worked themselves back and into sort of single file.
Yeah, Ralph was the real loser, I'd say, in that first lap. Lost 3 positions. I think he just got nudged out a little bit. He seemed to be side by side with someone going into turn 1, and from then on it just seemed to get from bad to worse for him. And yeah, down into P7 now, and wide for Danes. So maybe a chance here for Cullinan. He's got to go to the inside here. He's got the inside, and that's a really good move from Ralph Cullinan. A mistake from Danes, and he's round. He got tapped by the Mercedes. I must say, I think Danes may have just turned in a little bit, but it's another disappointing race for Chris Danes. Not what he needed for his showdown chances, and he's right to the back of the field.
It was Richard, wasn't it? Yeah, I think that they just sort of made contact with. So let's just see if we can get this back and focus on Richard.
I think Danes was so desperate to get the cut back, he kind of just ignored that there was a car kind of looking on the inside.
Yeah, not the best sort of shot of it. Neither's that one, actually. Come on! Give us something here that we can work with. Yeah, exactly. And I think Rich could see that, and he was a little wide, yeah. And I understand why Danes was desperate to get back over, because you do just get freight trained a little bit with the pack. So, but yeah, Gafenko already had his nose there, so he needed to give the room on the inside.
Really close out in front currently. It's Jim Flanagan got a little bit of a Q bomb behind him. Lane O'Connor actually managed to make the move in the last race on Jim Flanagan, so he's got to have confidence that maybe he can retrieve that 2nd place. Lee Dima looking comfortable out in front because he made a mistake from, I think, 4th place in the first race. Managed to recover back up to 6th, and that got him the pole for this event. So Richard Warmingham still sitting in P5. Just needs to make sure he racks up the points. Kip Stevens up 5 positions in 11th. Those two need to keep an eye on each other, because that could be the last spot in the showdown to one of them. And just having a look down the inside, that was Anwar Smith having a go on Lane O'Connor, but not White at the moment.
Yeah, got close. He's very close, in fact. Let's jump on board, because I feel like he's trying to shape something up. Of course, it's difficult for him because O'Connor's getting the slipstream from Flanagan. All of them in the Mercs. So all very similar sort of power and torque levels as they come out of the corners. And the straights are so short here that aero doesn't really play a major factor. So you see a lot of drivers crank a load of downforce on around here. We set up the car with a bit more rake so that you get a bit more rotation and carry a bit more speed through the corners. Oh, nice. That's a mistake for O'Connor. Sorry, it's Flanagan, isn't it? And O'Connor straight through. Perfect view from it from Smith's point of view. He doesn't try and sneak up the inside. That's an opportunity sort of gone there. Although I have to say, I think probably right to do that because Flanagan would have had the inside for Graham Hill. Oh, who's that behind as well? Is that Warmingham on Cullinan? That was very close. Oh, no,
Cullinan's
it's
just got past. Yeah, Cullinan's just got past Warmingham. So, yeah, Warmingham losing out, I think. And, yeah.
Just do this replay, see how it happened. Oh, I went just a little wide, did Warmingham. Almost followed Smith and Flanagan, didn't he? Well, he did exactly that. And, yeah, Rafe was able just to sneak back up the inside.
Yes, now 2 positions, or 2 overtakes, sorry, from Ralph Cullinan, and he's looking for another on Anwar Smith, perhaps. Oh, Smith's wide into the wall, I think. No, he's saved it. He's just in the gravel, and Flanagan's round. And now they've got to take evasive action to dodge the Mercedes, but Smith down to 7th now, and Ralph Cullinan from at 1.6 place, he's up into the podium places.
Just saw what happened to Anwar there, and then just got off. Oh, big hit for Flanagan. So, did you see Smith as he was coming back on the circuit have to suddenly check his direction somewhat while he was on the grass, and he got himself all out of shape looking. But yeah, all of a sudden, race back up there again.
Yeah, like, it's a bit of a long shot to say he could win this race, but
well, Dima's pulling away, so could get second.
Yeah,
Double or nothing.
Oh, I'm not going to put on another bet ever again after recently.
We'll go
on. Oh, I'll lose. Wright is just behind Kip Stevens, who's up 7 places now. So Kip really gaining some important positions. Richard Warmingham, his main rival, is in 4th position for that showdown spot. And picking up crucial points is Kip. And of course, the finishing positions of this race will be the starting positions for the next one. So it's absolutely fundamental for Kip to make up as many positions as he can.
Yeah, and getting slowly working his way up towards Scott Malcolm here as well. Half a second lap faster. This should answer our question from earlier on, shouldn't it? How much faster do you need to be to get a move, a genuine move done? Can he get a move done on Scott Malcolm? Let's see what the lap times were as they crossed the line this time. It was a 125.6 versus a 124.8, so there's actually a good 0.8 of a second between them, isn't there? So I would think that would be enough. I said somewhere between the half a second and 1 second is what you need.
Failing to really close in at the moment. It's just such a difficult one to where you go for the move. Really turn to maybe with the best chance, but that's a good run for Stevens. A little bit wide from Malcolm, and Stevens will go to the outside. Really need a lot of overspeed and a lot of momentum to make this one work. And yeah, of course, if you're on the outside and you're behind as well, it's going to be difficult. And who's that just ahead? That is Anwar Smith going past Luke Clark. So Anwar, after that mistake earlier on, recovering up into 6th position now. And I think it may have been a mistake from Luke Clark. Yes, it was. Just got onto the grass and Smith straight through.
Yeah, nothing Clark could do there at all. Just yeah, just run it a little wide, which is easy to do there. And yeah, paid the price for it. Going on between the front 4, this battle for second. It's pretty, yeah, it's hotting up even more. This is what we talked about. It is difficult to overtake, and we were going to see a lot of more action. We've got these two battling groups.
Down the inside. Oh, contact, but he's made the move still. Cullinan's out wide. He's going to have the inside for the next corner. Though he can hang on, and he might even go for the position back. There goes Cullinan again. And now who's going to lose out here? Richard Warmingham's on the outside, and he might lose 2 positions here. Through goes Gafenku, nudges him out. How on earth did Warmingham there gain a position and then lose 2?
Yeah, not sure at all. It's not over yet. I want to get a replay of the second pack because they're battling like mad as well. Here we go. Right, that seems to have settled down. But this is a replay from what went on. Kip, Scott went a little wide. Oh dear, that was crazy. And then behind them as well, Max Wright coming under pressure. That was from Chris Danes. They were side by side then, down the back straight. Can Max just sneak up the inside? No, he can't quite throw it in. So, yeah, all action at the moment.
Yeah.
And suddenly, what we did have 2 packs, and now we're down to some couple of individual battles.
Yeah, seems so. And who was that car who hit the wall? I wasn't quite sure who that was actually. In the I think it was a Mercedes who hit the wall.
It was Malcolm. Yeah, it was
Oh,
Malcolm.
it's got Malcolm. Okay, yeah.
He was literally at the front of that pack. So.
Yeah. Disappointing for Scott because struggled in the first race a little bit, but found himself in a decent position in that one. But yeah, that spin has really cost him. Back into the pits. We'll wait to see if he comes back out into the race. But currently we're watching Ralph Cullinan still in that third position somehow. Richard Gafenki just behind, and Richard Warmingham just waiting behind at the moment. These two. And yeah, sorry, Warmingham lost quite a bit of time, didn't he? In that battle, did he make a secondary mistake?
I don't think so. Well, maybe. Let's have a look at this one. I've got an off track here.
He's already quite far behind though at this point.
Yeah, exactly. And then there's another one here. So let's have a look. See if he went off here, and this is where he lost the time.
Oh, there we go.
There,
It
yeah.
could have been a hell of a lot worse.
Oh, that is going to do it, isn't it?
So he's not that far clear now of Luke Clark, who... Let's say Clark got back past Anwar Smith.
He has.
Yeah, on the last lap he was 1.3 seconds faster, so... A bit of a surprise. Anwar Smith's been almost invincible this season, but yeah, being overtaken by Luke Clark.
So just ran a little wide there. Is that what was cost him? I don't think so. Can't see. Let's see where Luke. Here we go. This is where Luke gets past Smith. So let's see what happens to Smith here. Is that slow down?
Yeah, it must have been.
Slow down. Yeah. I have to say, top marks to our overlay developer, Pascal Higgelin, Antoine Higgelin's dad. If you don't know him, Antoine obviously races in the World Championship. Pascal does a lot of stuff for us, mainly to help his son. But yeah, he's got the bit between his teeth with our overlay, and we have a great event viewer that we can just quickly skim through and try and find these replays now. Absolutely fantastic. And, yeah, it's coming on. Don't know who saw it from the very first time we released this, but it's the development from there is crazy. But from when we first started playing with it, it's just absolutely night and day different. Bit of a game changer as far as we're concerned. There's some features we haven't really talked about yet, but we will do at some point. As Gafenku on Cullinan, it's very close.
Yeah, to the outside now goes Gafenku. He's got the extra horsepower in that Mercedes, and this would be some move, but he's not going to give up as Cullinan. Round the outside goes Richard Gafenku. Fantastic move from Richard. Up into P3. Up 6 places now, Richard Gafenku. So really going to be looking strong maybe for that final race as well. Starting high up and just looking at what lap we are on, lap 10, and this is a 15 lap event, so he's got plenty of time I think now to make the move on Lane O'Connor.
Looking at lap times, about 3/10 quicker that last lap as well. Let's see what he does this time. You can already see the gap physically closed down as well, so this is going to be with an overtake as well. They come through 24.4 and then 24.1, so another 3/10 with an overtake, so very comfortable. Been good for Gafenku. We knew how quick he was the last one because he made countless mistakes, and was still there, sort of fighting in that just outside the top 5. So definitely got some speed. He was quicker than the leader the last time by, but I feel like even if he got past now, Dean was far enough away not to have to worry about it too much.
Yeah, it could be a real threat though, as I said, for race 3 perhaps, which is looking pretty good actually, because we've got a few faster drivers near the back of the grid in this race, and like I said earlier, the finishing results of this race decide the starting positions for the next one. But Richard Gavenka really closing in now on Lane O'Connor. He's been a really good drive so far. Had to defend quite a bit to hold on to that second place, and had to make an overtake or two as well. But now Gavenka's right on the tail, no chance to into this penultimate corner, but he's right on the gearbox of that Mercedes. And now we'll get into the slipstream. He needs to absolutely nail this final corner, but you know what? I think O'Connor maybe gave up a little bit of entry speed just to get onto the power really early, but it's down into turn 2 where he's going to have the chance for Gavenka. Let's see how they attack turn 1, and he closes in, going to have to be defensive, I think, as O'Connor to hold on to the position, and he covers off that inside line straight away, and there's nothing really Richard can do to make the move. Maybe down the hill we go into Graham Hill, but not quite, it just has to sit in behind. And here comes Cullinan.
Oh, patiently does it. And I tell you what, O'Connor really checked him up, didn't he, through the middle of Graham Hill there, and that's why he had to go on the defensive. Great run from Ray.
Yeah, and he's deep into the slipstream here, but as we always say, that BMW, which cost him on a couple of laps ago, that position, and you can see just didn't really gain any time down that straight, despite having a slightly better launch from the previous corner. Travis trying to get involved in this one is Luke Clark, is that just behind? Trying to just, Richard Warmingham trying to catch up to this slot. He might get involved soon, and down the inside here, this would be very risky contact between the two of them. And now he's on the grass as Lane O'Connor, he's got the inside for the final corner, and he's just nudging ahead at the moment. He just moves ahead again. Cullinan's going to have a look through, and here comes Warmingham. He's going to have a go down the inside. Cullinan wide, and here comes Warmingham down the inside from absolutely nowhere. He's all of a sudden made up the gap. Down the inside goes Richard Warmingham, but squeezes him, does Val Cullinan. But Warmingham is the brilliant move. That was so opportunistic, wasn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. Caught them just at the right time, and all fair in that as well. So get side by side like that. So expect to have a little bit, pushed out a little bit wide. There was enough room on the outside for Cullinan, only just though.
But still, Richard Gavenka can't make the move on Lane O'Connor. But right into the slipstream here. This is about where he was last time. It's just about kind of trying to surprise attack him into one of these corners. But I have to say, after that attempt into the penultimate corner, surely Lane O'Connor will be able to cover that off now that he knows that that's an area where Richard feels strong.
He must. He has a little look to the outside now. Bit of contact.
There.
And here comes Warmingham again. Thank you very much, he says. That's 2 for 2.
Absolutely. Brilliant driving from Richard Warmingham. I mean, you know what? He's could well get second position from here. I'm not going to say it, but he's looking really strong right now. Lane O'Connor covered that one off. Did Richard, was Gavenka there just a little bit slow to appreciate how O'Connor had covered that off early?
I mean, yes, maybe. I mean, obviously, O'Connor really was looking to cover on the inside first, and then Gavenka switched to the outside. So, you could argue it was reacting to what Richard did. But to be fair, he was clearly in front, so he could do that. And I think, Richard perhaps just didn't see him coming. Braked. When you're that close, it's just so easy to lock up. But he's having a run on Warmingham here. Just going to go to the outside through the GP section of the circuit. All of a sudden, Warmingham having to go a bit defensive. Our race winner from the last one. He's thinking, well, where's this guy come from? I was by far the fastest person on the track the last one. Well, actually, you were not, Richard. Gavenka was very, very quick. But, just made a little hash of it. So, This is kind of the race that we wanted in the first race.
Yeah, absolutely. And this is just lap 14, so coming on to the last lap now. So not long to go, and trying to get this cut back now is Richard Gafenki. Down the inside he goes on Richard Warmingham. He's got the better straight line speed. Looks like it's dead level, I must say. Gafenki down the inside, but Warmingham can hold it round here. I think Gafenki might have it a little bit of contact, and Warmingham just had to back off, and I think Cullinan might be looking for a move now. Down the inside goes Cullinan, and Warmingham, after gaining 2 places, he's going to be nerfed out there, but down the inside goes Warmingham again, and he's held on. So this is absolutely incredible. I don't think I've ever seen, you know, twice a driver make up 2 positions and then nearly lose them straight back again.
Yeah, just about holds on to it. It's got the run. Danes is off, I think. Not sure quite what's going on with him. We're on the final lap of the race as well. That's not missed. That was that just... Yeah. I think he has another one. Oh, a big one as well. And into the wall on the final lap of the race. No, siree, you do not want to do that. But poor Mr. Lee Diemer, well, he's had no coverage, has he?
Yeah, sorry, Lee, but this is your moment in the sun. And second place in the championship. And actually will be edging closer to Anwar Smith. These are important points for the showdown later on in the season. And Lee Diemer comes across the line to take another race victory this season. Fantastic drive from him. Lane O'Connor is going to hold on. What a fantastic drive from him. From second on the grid, defended brilliantly. And it's Richard Gafenki who somehow finishes in third. No one really knows how after all that action. Warmingham holds on to fourth. I think he'll be pretty happy with that after an early mistake. Cullinan finishes fifth. Clark sixth. Stevens seventh. This lot, you know, Clark, Stevens got past Smith in the end, so we missed that. It was such great battling between those lot, but the battle out in front was just as good. David Ayres just watching now, him finishing in P11, up 3 positions from where he started, and Carl Hardy finishing, and Colin Robinson in the Ferrari, I think, just coming across the line as well.
There's your replay as well of exactly how Stevens got past Anwar Smith. Wide it was for Smith coming out of Graham Hill Bend. And, yeah, up and through. Nothing he could do. Good, solid race. That one, thoroughly enjoyed. Much more exciting than the last one.
Yeah, absolutely. And the third race is looking good as well. But we'll take you through our race 2 results. Lee Diemer from pole position to race victory. It was pretty simple for him. He looks very much invincible up there, and 7.3 seconds clear of Lane O'Connor in the end. Did really well to finish in second place, probably his best finish of the season. Richard Gafenki, good recovery drive from him, 9th on the grid, 3rd in the race, and he's going to be a real one to watch in this in the race 3, because he'll be starting on that second race. Richard Warmingham, good recovery drive from him as well after an early mistake. He comes home in 4th. Ralph Cullinan in 5th position. What could have been for him? Did so well to get from 6th to 3rd, then fell back down to 5th, I think, then back up to 4th, challenged for 3rd, and then started in 5th. So really action-packed race for him. Luke Clark, really good drive from Luke. Seemed a little bit off colour in that first race, but ends up just 11 seconds off the lead. Good drive from him in 6th. Kip Stevens, good drive to the field from him. 16th on the grid, up into 7th. Important for his showdown chances. Anwar Smith, the championship leader, made a couple of mistakes up there. He then ends up in 8th. Max Wright in the Audi in 9th. Chris Daines made a couple of mistakes in 10th. David Ayres finishes 11th. Carl Hardy 12th. Colin Robinson in the Ferrari in 13th. Anthony Jacobson 14th. Jim Flanagan finishes 15th. And Scott Malcolm finishes in 16th. We will be back with you in about a quarter of an hour for the 3rd race of the evening. Welcome back to the BSR Grand Tour. I'm back, Sam Fitzpatrick, with Alex Simpson. He's also on the cameras, and we are here for race 3 of the evening here at Brands Hatch. And we got Lee Deemer on pole position, Lane O'Connor second, Richard Gafencu third, Richard Warmingham fourth, and that's Ralph Cullinan, Luke Clark, Kip Stevens, Anwar Smith, Max Wright, Chris Daines, David Ayres, Carl Hardy, Colin Robinson, Anthony Jacobson, Jim Flanagan, and Scott Malcolm rounding out the field, and we will be going green any second now. We have got a mandatory pit stop for this one. Expect to see drivers in about midway through the race for that one, but should be interesting with the strategy. We've seen so far overtaking not too easy, so this start is crucial, and away we go. And it's a good start for Deemer, and O'Connor just having to slot in behind. Better start for him this time. Warmingham up into third. And round goes Deemer, but he's hung on to it. He's on the inside. O'Connor looking for the outside, down the out. Here he goes, and it's just about hanging on. It's Lee Deemer. More contact down the field. Cullinan making contact with Warmingham, who's round. Warmingham round, race 1 winner is out of contention. It's Kip Stevens up into second place now, and it's chaos at the back here. What is going on? And we've got more spins. Anwar Smith is round, and that is Jim Flanagan round, and oh my goodness, what a crazy start we've got here. But it's Lee Deemer out in the lead. Luke Clark is up into second place, and here comes Carl Hardy under pressure from Ralph Cullinan, who's failed to make up much progress at this start, unlike many others around him, and he just has to slot in behind. But it's Carl Hardy up 8 positions. What a start.
Fantastic start from Carl. Absolutely on the money, isn't he? So, just pick the line. If I can, I'm going to try and see if I can get a bit of a restart on this one. So can't for some reason. Here we go.
Yeah, let's try to appreciate this craziness of the start. There was a few slow starters, and yeah, here's Hardy. So he goes to the outside here. He's going to witness all of this. So it's just a bit argy-bargy up ahead, and he's going to go to the outside. Is he? Bit of contact on the inside. They all spin in front of him, and he just circles around the outside. He's still not that far up at this point.
That was where Warmingham and Cullinan got into each other, and then at the front, look, that's the thing. Everyone just split.
Wow.
He just dives to the inside and got Cullinan on his right. So that's it. That's how you get it. Literally parting of the seas there for him. Thank you very much, he says. I'll take it.
Yeah, it's just dropped a position to Ralph Cullinan just now. Cullinan up into P4, and he was caught up in some of that, but yeah, didn't lose out too much due to it. But yeah, he's back up into 4th position. Who was it? Was it Warmingham and Smith who got into each other at Graham Hill?
Oh no, it was Warmingham who got turned by Rafe to start off with. So I think it was maybe Kafenku that got that originally went round, but Anwar certainly went around, and that's what scattered as well. So yeah, all sorts going on. Clark with the fastest lap of the race that time as well, 22.7, so substantially quicker than our race leader. So that bodes well for us, just to see something going on. Also, Kip Stevens quicker than Deemer as well, so I don't think Deemer's going to have it all his way this time.
Hardy's
Hardy around.
Oh, that's so disappointing, because he was having such a good race. But he's still in P8, so that's not too bad for him. David Ayres now up 6 positions from his start. Chris Daines, he got involved in a spin, didn't he? He was in the 2nd spin, and somehow still finds himself near the front. And yeah, so he's just just make that move. I was just looked away, but he's yeah, up into 6th position now.
Yeah, Robson and Hardy, they're both off the track at the same time. I think this has caused problems for Carl. I think he's jumped back to the pits. That's Let's have a look. Oh, I'm gonna get a little bit of a replay of this, I think, if I can. See exactly what happened. Oh, where's the first bit? It's got to be a. So he lost it there, and then I think he's going to lose it again here. Actually,
Oh, Gafenki's
so,
out.
yeah, Gafenko out.
Yeah,
I'm gonna get this on replay as well.
Yeah. Sorry, he got a tie, so he wasn't near the front.
I just lost it on the way in. Again, just cooked his tyres the first time, and then everyone's had to scan, sort of avoid him, scatter somewhat. Right, what happened to Gafenko then? Where is his off? Sorry, I'm just trying to find that very clearly. Let me just get back to live, and then I will hunt that down and find that one.
Yeah, so got a few drivers in big trouble. Max Wright seems to be out of the race, I think. And then Carl Hardy as well. And Richard Gafenku. Richard Warmingham seems to be having more issues out there as well. He's just dropped down to P10. Seems to have a bit of an issue. And
so Richard just parking it there, and that's where he jumps back. So that's kind of out of nowhere, really.
Top three closing in on one another. Let's see what the times are this time. So Lee Deemer 22.59, Clark 22.49, Stevens 22.24. So and then Ralph Cullinan 21.94. He's trying to get involved in this one. So I don't know about you, Alex, but this is a bit of an odd one because we've got 4 drivers at the front here. And none of them, I would say, are kind of obvious drivers that you'd see fighting for race victories normally in this season.
Yeah, so it could go any way, really. We really don't know. So what's the long life like? Who knows what to do as far as pit strategies and things like that? Often gets forgotten about sort of in the mid-pack, you know, and people just go for the safe option of taking the tyres. So are these drivers going to take the gamble? But yeah, Rafe at the moment looking very, very strong. Whereas the slowest driver out there is Lee Deemer. So, you know, we're going to have a 4-way battle at some point. Or as Luke Clark runs wide.
Yeah, he's actually got a bit of a lead now as Lee Deemer. Clark got a fabulous start. Went up 4 positions in just a few corners. So too Kip Stevens, who, remember, was starting 16th at the start of the last race. Managed to make his way up to P7, I think. And yeah, managed to gain 4 positions in this race to lie in the top 3. Important for his showdown efforts, and so too actually Luke Clark. It's important for him as well because he's got an outside chance of finishing in the top 6 before the showdown. So he really needs to rack up these points, and 20 points for second place would really help his effort.
Just hearing that Richard had some issues with his throttle, so running at 70%, so issue with the pedals. I'm thinking there, so he decided to pull it up. Yeah, you're not going to do an awful lot with only 70% gas, that's for sure. Just hearing from James King as well on the chat. More action in this race than was on the Blancpain in the real life Blancpain race today. Well, you can always trust BSR to provide some action.
Yeah, interpret that statement as you wish, but Deemer still in the lead. Actually, Luke Clark has gained a little bit of time on this lap, just three quarters of a second behind. He's actually taken a little bit of time out of each of the sectors on this lap. Cullinan edging closer. But actually, Lee Deemer on that last lap did a 21.95, which is very rapid. Let's see what he does this time. So 22.04 for Deemer. Clark 22.21. Stevens 22.23. Cullinan 21.78. So I gotta say, I think it's important that Cullinan either gets past these drivers, which we've seen him do already today, or he goes for an early pit stop.
Yeah, I think Clark and Kit, they were closing in on Deemer, so let's just give them, they got quite close to each other, so give them a lap or two, just see what they can do. Maybe Deemer just settling into a nice little rhythm now, because he did have a, he did have a bit of a sort of stressful first lap, didn't he? Got hit and got some damage on the back there and had to fight for it somewhat, and he's come away with it. But you know what it's like when you got people 6-7 tenths of a second behind, it sort of puts you off a little bit. You're always looking behind, so maybe Clark and Kip can just sort of run him back down a little bit. But Rafe definitely looks like the quickest of the four.
Yeah, Chris Dane's 5 seconds behind Rafe Cullinan. A little bit too far behind, I think, to maybe mount a challenge for the win, but he'll be a dark horse maybe for a podium coming the end of this one. And just watching now Richard Warmingham just following Lane O'Connor. Both of these guys have had poor starts to this race. O'Connor started in second after claiming a really good second-to-second race in race 2. Too many seconds places there. And Cullinan passed Stevens. So, yeah, Cullinan making up the progress that he needs to. And he's up into the podium places.
See that back as well. See exactly how he did it. It's always the way, isn't it? We switch back to another battle, and all of a sudden.
Oh, and don't do it again because sorry, getting confused with the replay system. So, and yeah, Cullinan, 3 simple move. Yeah, by the way, I don't know when we go to a replay, so often we have moments like that. I don't have the graphic which says replay, so I'm constantly just shouting at the screen at whatever I see, even if it happened 10 minutes ago. But Cullinan, yeah, up into P3. Next up, Luke Clark. And yeah, he's only 5 seconds off the lead at the moment, Cullinan, but needs to carry on making this progress.
He's got the time as well, I think. That's the important thing. Anwar Smith. Oh, very close to Jacobson. Well, not anymore because he's in front.
Yeah, up into P7 now. It's not really the race that Anwar wanted. It was a poor race 2 as well, actually. After finishing in second in race 1, I think, which was a steady drive. But yeah, race 2 didn't go as he wished. And yeah, Jacobson up 6 places from where he started. It's going to be interesting now. Jacobson beat O'Connor and Warmingham, maybe even Flanagan as well, because I think those 3 drivers are significantly faster than Anthony Jacobson. But we'll wait to see if he can maybe hold on to that P8 position.
Yeah, Anthony just kind of missed everything, didn't he, as well at the start? Made up a lot of places, so good for him. Slow and steady, you know, always comes out on top at some point. Just having a little look as they cross the line again. Cullen, I think that was including the overtake, so lost a little bit of time to Luke Clark that time. But it's about 1.3 seconds that he's behind now.
Yeah, and Stevens, Stevens staying relatively close. But yeah, just dropping back ever so slightly, about 7 tenths behind now. But yeah, Jacobson really under pressure already from O'Connor and Warmingham. And you got to question, is it better for Jacobson to not fight these guys too hard? Because it's pretty inevitable in a long race like this that he's going to lose out eventually. And Jim Flanagan's not too far behind. There goes into the pits Richard Warmingham. So do you think that's a good call to just maybe get the undercut on O'Connor and Jacobson?
I think so. More than anything, it's probably being held up there, and with what had happened with his race at the start, you know, get him into the pits and get him to jump those guys, sort of the easier way, and then he can, you know, try and at least build on that and see how many people else he can get or get close to that sort of middle battle. He's quick, and with Gafenko out of the race, he's probably going to be the quickest guy on the track. So if he hasn't sustained too much damage, then he, you know, he could still have a run at this. We've got time. I mean, there's 27, there's 17 minutes to go. So, no, so did we say it was 35 minutes? Sorry.
35 minutes.
Yeah, so a little bit longer. So.
Anwar Smith, yeah, looking for the move now on David Ayres. So Smith making lots of progress. O'Connor did get past Jacobson. That's important for O'Connor because, yeah, like we were saying, he doesn't want to be undercut by Richard Warmingham. Smith, it might be worth him coming into the pits as well, but he stays out, so he's going to try to get this move done on Ayres right now. Ayres up 5 positions from his start, and once Smith gets past this one, will be much tougher for him to make up positions. He's in the slipstream up the hill. Little bit of a defensive move there from David Ayres. Just got to the middle of the circuit, and that managed to repel the attack for now. And Smith is actually going to be under pressure from O'Connor if he doesn't get this one done quick.
Got Malcolm into the pits. But yes, you're right. I think he's going to need to get by. Could have made some sense to get it done, but definitely much quicker than Ayres, so should be able to get the move done. Sacrifice maybe a lap, see if he can do it. Otherwise, I think, yeah, he needs to jump on in. Something going on. Luke Clark's very slow. Yeah. All of a sudden, Cullinan closed right in through the last couple of corners, half a second down to about a 10th, and less than that now as they swing through the final corner.
Yeah, and Stevens made a mistake as well, which has dropped him back. Cullinan now in that BMW, how much power does it have? He needs every single horsepower to look to the inside. Not quite through there, and he's all right on the tail. He just had to get out of the throttle, if anything, midway through that turn 1, and holds on for now, does Luke Clark. And all this battling is just what Lee Demon needs. Gap now up to 3 seconds. He pulled Cullinan on that last lap at 22.4. Demon at 22.7. Luke Clark at 23.5. So must have made a mistake. Stevens lost quite a bit of time as well after that off. And Smith has just got past Ayres, by the way.
Yeah, Ayres went off track. So let's see if we can get that back on replay. See exactly how it was done. Good run out of paddock, dives to the inside at Druids, nice, and gets it done. I'm not really sure where Ayres went. Oh, he lost it coming off of it as well. So, just compounded his problems.
Where has O'Connor come out? He's come out ahead of. So Warmingham had a slow stop, didn't he? And that's cost him bad because he's actually behind Scott Malcolm. He's actually pitted as well. So Richard Warman's got a lot of work to do, and let's see if either of these drivers, Clark and Cullinan, do they come in? No, they don't. We'll see if Stevens comes in as well, but I think he's staying out as well. So Stevens stays out, and now the gap between the top 2 is some 4 seconds. So every lap, every corner that Cullinan spends behind Clark, he's losing his chance at the race victory.
Chris Daines has come in. I just wanted to pick up on the point as well that you made about Warmingham's pit stop being slow. He was 44.72 seconds pit lane start to pit lane exit. And some of the other guys have been about sort of 28 to 32 seconds so far. So a good 15 seconds slower. And that to me usually means that perhaps he's taken some tyres in that pit stop as well. So Warmingham deciding he's going to do everything he can, but yeah, he's going to have a tough order. Those people he wanted to get the jump on, it's not going to happen. Rafe to the inside, he has a little look, but ducks back into the normal line.
Yeah, one thing I remember from my past experiences here, far too many times, is the pit entry here. It is very difficult, very easy to get an unsafe pit entry, so I wonder if it's just one of them as well, because I think it takes a little bit longer than 15 seconds. But yeah, it's bad either way for Richard Warmingham. He's in P12 and it's not going to improve that much, I think, for him. Can maybe recover a top 10, but even that's going to be difficult. But still, these top 4 drivers do not pit. Not sure how far behind Chris Daines was before, but you know what? He might be able to get involved as well in this if he can put in a few good laps. Let's see if Warmingham can get the move on Malcolm. This is pretty desperate times for Richard Warmingham, and Malcolm is defending. Can he go all the way around the outside here? Warmingham, this is going to be a great move if he can pull it off. Still on the inside, they rub tyre to tyre, and it's still trying to fight back. Warmingham around the outside though, he's off the track.
Oh, no! It's tough racing all the way through there, and it was just the merest of nicks, wasn't it? Got the Mercedes upset, unbalanced, and away it went and into the wall. He'll be a bit livid with that. When he looks at it back, you'll see nothing but good hard racing. And you know, you take your you know, when you try and go around the outside like that, you kind of you're the one that's got the, you know, it's always going to come off worse in that situation. So you take the gamble. You know, there's a risk when you do that kind of move, and it's so easy just to get run out wide. And actually, I think Scott was really, really fair there and left him plenty of room as Rafe comes in.
Yeah, he dropped back a little bit with Rick Cullinan off Luke Clark. I just wonder if that's going to mean that this undercut is going to be a little bit more difficult for him. David Ayres just following Jim Flanagan at the moment. And let's see where Anwar Smith, he hasn't pitted yet, and he still doesn't pit. And it's Chris Daines who could be somewhere around Ralph Cullinan. Cullinan now coming out of the pits, and back to Cullinan's way clear of Daines. And it was a 30-second pit stop for Cullinan, and yeah, back out and away. And he really needs a couple of good outlaps. If you were Clark in this situation, Alex, would you be straight in now?
I think so. You got to kind of cover it off. You don't want him to get through, do you, at all? So, yeah, get it done, get in, bring the mini map up just so you can see where everybody is. Where is Clark? You can do actually. We'll have a look. If he's going to come in, we might be able to isolate to the two drivers. So you can see them.
Demon's lost a little bit of time on this lap, by the way. It's got back down under 3 seconds. And that was due to the traffic of Max Verstappen, I think. And he's not into the pits as Luke Clark, and neither is Kip Stevens. Doesn't really make sense for Stevens to pit because he's actually got a bit of clear air still. But you know what? Clark's going to get involved now with the traffic of Max, right? I really do question this call, because if Cullinan can put in a couple of good laps, then he's going to be under real pressure, isn't he?
Yeah, I mean, I think he was a bit quicker as well. So normally you would say, well, actually, the overcut's probably, they're not going to take tyres. It's probably the better strategy because the car's lighter and should be able to put in better lap times. But if the driver behind you is a bit quicker but can't quite get past, then, you know, track position is key. And so, yeah, I'm surprised he didn't jump into cover. But fortunately, he hasn't caught up to the traffic too much this lap. So maybe he'll make the call at the end of this one.
Yeah, Demon lost about half a second with the traffic, I believe. Clark and Stevens just did the identical lap time, so that was very impressive from the two of them. Both setting some of their best times of the race, so they really are pushing. And you know what, if Stevens can put in a couple of laps and maybe Cullinan makes a mistake or two with his outlaps, then maybe he'll be able to get the jump into P3. But does anyone pit this time round? No. Still staying out. Yeah, still Cullinan catching up to Smith. 1.6 seconds. That could perhaps be problematic if he does catch up and faces a bit of traffic.
Yeah, I'm surprised Smith's not putting. Well, it's not gonna matter. He's into bits.
That's just what Cullinan needed, wasn't it? Smith, bits of a lonely race out there. Not sure if he's really fighting anyone. Maybe Chris Daines he could be fighting with. Lane O'Connor, I think, actually might be quite close. So might be worth keeping an eye on Smith. Just seeing where he comes out in relation to O'Connor, who had a decent pit stop. I think it's going to be Smith quite comfortably, to be honest. He's now coming out.
Well, he's going to need to get going, that's for sure. It's not going to be as close as you think.
Yeah, Smith is...
So, O'Connor through.
Yeah, so what's happened to Smith? He's stationary for a long time.
40-odd seconds at this point. This could be that unsafe.
Yeah, I think so. We didn't see his pit entry, did we? So...
Well, we can have a replay of it. Let's do that, and we'll jump up on the chopper, and we'll have a little look. See if he does cross the white line.
Yeah,
oh, he did. Yeah, he did. So that's probably exactly what happened to Warmingham.
He was on the edge of the pit lane limiter as well, I think.
Yeah.
And I really wondered, because he's still stationary, as he got caught out twice. Clark is in. Clark is into the pits. And... Wait, so is Clark into the pits? I'm seeing some blacked out...
Yeah, he is. There we go.
Yep.
We were still on replay, sorry.
Cullinan's got ahead of Clark. And Clark is behind Flanagan, so and Ayres. So sorry, has Clark had an issue there?
31 seconds, so I don't really know why. But he's just lost time. Luke Clark, he
had
went
a
off.
Yeah, 6 or 5.
Oh, there he's around completely. There he is. Just doing our shot. Let's see if we can get a better shot of that. Exactly what happened. Yeah, I think we need to go back a bit further than that.
Seemed to maybe get onto the. Oh wow, he nearly lost it again. Actually, just soon after, wiggling all over about. And oh wow, he lost it early on, didn't he?
Very early. Kip just about got through, didn't it? Sorry, that wasn't Kip at all. Who was that?
No, that was Kip.
Oh, it was.
Anyway, Kip is into the pits, and just want to see if Rafe Cullen is going to be ahead of Kip. He's going to be in the pits for a few more seconds. This could decide who finishes second in this event. And here comes Rafe Cullen, and Kip here, Steve coming out of the pits. It's going to be neck and neck, but Cullinan's got it. That's absolutely crucial. Stevens nearly made that overcut work, but Cullinan up into second place. That's what he wanted when he came into the pits early, as it's really worked out for him.
Yep, perfect strategy. Really, just absolutely nailed it, didn't he? Got by those guys. Got himself up into second. Kip got close, but yeah, so we'll see how that goes. So, what is the gap? Well, we're looking at 38 seconds to Dima at the minute. Has Dima made a mistake? Because I was expecting that gap to be a lot bigger, considering he hasn't pitted.
Well, I would have thought pit stop loss time would be about 25 seconds, just judging by it, because it's 30 seconds through the pit lane.
I'll tell you what, this is going to be close.
His times have been decent, though, I think, Dima, and Cullinan hasn't really been setting the world alight with his lap time, so I'm surprised that it's this close, potentially, but maybe it's the traffic.
Let's get, yeah, could be. Let's get these number on. So I'm going to leave them. I'm going to leave them up on the mini map for a moment, just so we can keep an eye on it, because there really isn't an awful lot of time on them. This one's going to be close when he comes into the pits.
Just looking at their lap times, it's been pretty neck and neck, I think, with the two of them. Cullinan, Dima in the mid 22s. And just going to see what times Cullinan was doing. Cullinan in the... he's pretty much same times, to be honest. Did a 21 one time, but that's about it. Pretty much level, so I don't think he's really made the inroads that he needs.
We will see, because I think this is Dima coming in. Absolutely it is. Then very hesitant, I think it goes. He doesn't want to get caught with a penalty, does he? And he was, onto the brakes really early there. So slides himself into the box, gets himself a repair, which is always useful. So here comes Cullinan. This is going to be close. It's a quick stop. He went so long, 8.4 seconds. It's still going to be close, that's for sure. A lot closer than it was before the pit stop rounds. That's one thing. So there's race. So once the timing screen settles itself down, it's about 3.3 seconds.
It was at about 5, I think, when Cullinan made his pit stop, so has made a little bit of an inroad to Dima. O'Connor is now into the pits, I think. Oh no, he's just got connection issues, I think, is O'Connor. But yeah, Cullinan down to 3 seconds. All he can do now is just, set qualifying time after qualifying time and see if he can put a little bit of pressure on Dima.
Yeah, set the top 3 to the map, just so we can see where they are in relation to each other. Everybody at the moment seems interval-wise from them. I've got a little bit with Malcolm and Ayres that's going on. let's just do the nice thing and give those guys a little bit of love, as yeah, they don't always get covered when you're sort of towards the rear. Sorry, guys, to say it like that, but
Well, just
well,
looking at the guys behind them, we've got Max White, who's a lap down, Hardy lap down, Smith 5 laps down, Warmingham 8 laps down, Robinson 15 laps down, and Gapenki 18 laps down. So it's quite incredible how we got 6 drivers out of 16 out of the race. It just shows how manic those first couple of laps are and the difficulty of this Brands Hatch circuit.
yeah, I mean, Wright and Hardy are still circulating. That's the thing. So they're not officially out, but yeah, I mean, those opening couple of laps were pretty chaotic, weren't they? So that did make quite a difference. Right, 2.8 seconds is now the gap at the front. So 112, we can't really tell, can we? Because that was an outlap for Dima. But Sector 1, there was no difference between them. Sector 2, so far, there's 0.05 of a second between them. Sector 3 were identical times, but in Sector 4, Rafe has been a little bit quicker.
Yeah, he's edging ever so slightly closer, 2.8 at the moment. I think maybe might gain 0.2 here. Dima did a 1 minute 22.03, Harnan 21.87, so it's not nearly enough. Needs at least kind of half a second to bridge that gap. And if anything, he's got to be careful of Kip Stevens, who was ever so slightly slow on that last lap. Chris Danes now looking for a way past Luke Clark, so Clark was racing for the lead, and now he's going to have to be defensive here because Danes will have a look. Not quite. Very much a day of what could have been for Chris Danes because he's had the pace, hasn't he, Alex? And he was super quick at Spa, but each race he's had at least one issue.
Yeah, unfortunately. I mean, if you look at his last lap time, so it's right there with the leaders, sort of, low 22s. Kind of what he wants. He's on the back of Clark, who did 23 the last lap, so did have an off track or two, mind you, Clark. It's just the way it goes sometimes. Sometimes you get nights like that where everything just goes wrong. Max Wright into the pits as well. We're 32 minutes into this 35-minute race, so there's not an awful lot of time left.
Yeah, I wonder if he maybe made an early pit stop and didn't quite put in enough fuel to get to the end. There simply wasn't enough fuel to put in his fuel tank. But here comes Danes, the closest battle out there. He's got a decent battle between Jacobson, Ayres and Malcolm, but this is the absolute closest one and probably the most likely one to yield a overtake. And just put him off a little bit, did Danes. Clark has got to defend, but Danes was all over the place. Coming out of turn 1, he goes to the outside, nearly make contact to the two of them. Down the hill they go, no chance. Danes seem to have, and Malcolm's just got past Ayres as well. But still Danes right on the tail lane, goes for the inside. That's a brilliant move, he couldn't make it, but no, Clark hung on. That was decisive from Danes, but Clark did well to, 1, avoid him, and 2, hang on to the position.
Balls to the wall, that move, that's all you can say. It's just like, hold my beer, I'm going for it. And yeah, I tell you what, that was a fantastic save. He had to work that car massively to keep the back end from not flying around. So yeah, great drive in there. And it was good from Clark because he sort of saw it, gave enough room just so that he could get a little squirrely behind him.
Out in the lead, Lee Dima still has a comfortable gap.
Just thought I'd show you this overtake.
Oh yeah, oh wow, it's a spin then? Or a half spin, wow, okay. I was wondering why there was a gap now between Jacobson and Malcolm, and that's the reason.
So Kip trying to fight his way back to Rafe then. and dusted for second place. We've got, what, a minute and so to go? No, less than that, 50 seconds to go. So we'll, where is Dima? We'll get this one in, just, I think. And then we'll have one more lap. So, yeah, it's go time for Kip. He needs to get it done. Needs to get on his tail and make this move. Needs the points if he's going to make the showdown.
Yeah, absolutely, because his main rival for that sixth position, Richard Warmingham, out of the race. And I think even if Stevens hangs on to this third place, doesn't make the move, I think he'll be back into that sixth place in the championship, which is so important. And also, he can get some bonus points for a podium finish for the chase, should he qualify for it. So, really important this for Stevens. And he's half a second behind Rafe Cullinan. It's been a good drive from Cullinan, hasn't it, throughout the day? Been opportunistic, made a lot of overtakes, and I think it's been one of his best races of the season.
It has, definitely. And I think, yeah, you're right. Two good races in the last one. So, I mean, two better ones for Lee Dima, I have to say, who hasn't got long left now. Kip just can't seem to get any closer, can he? Got that half a second, and that's about it. Where is Dima? Yeah, race 2 and race 3, victory. And that was after what looked like a really good showing in race 1, wasn't it? It was very strong, and just had that little hiccup with sort of about 2/3 of the way gone. Could have been, 3 podiums today.
Yeah, at the same time, though, it was that mistake in race 1 which enabled him to be on pole for race 2. And yeah, ups and downs. Maybe that was his blessing. And out of the final corner, he comes. Lee Dima wins race 3 here at Brands Hatch. Great drive from him once again. Ralph Cullinan holds on to second place over Kip Stevens. Good podiums for those two. Let's see if Luke Clark can hang on around the final corner. And he will hang on against Chris Danes. What could have been for Danes? Just too many mistakes in the end today. Some his fault, some not his fault. But yeah, he will come home in 5th place. Jim Flanagan, another consistent result for him. Seemingly, he's going to beat Lane O'Connor, who got involved, I think, in that first. He's round Lane O'Connor. He's seemingly put it in the wall. Can he get back going again? Because Scott Malcolm's going to be coming past. And Malcolm's going to be passed. I can't believe it for O'Connor. Ayres might be passed as well because O'Connor's car is absolute trash now and he can't turn. Yes, he can.
You don't want to do that, do you? Final lap of the race. Oh, what a mare.
Jacobson just couldn't quite be close enough to make it up. He comes home in P10, the last driver on the lead lap. And yeah, I think we can take you through the official results now. So it's Lee Dima taking his second race victory of the day, his second from pole position. And yeah, great day for Lee Dima. Second in the championship, might actually be in the lead of the championship now. It's only going to put some pressure on Anwar Smith. Ralph Cullinan comes home in second place. Really good day for him. Kip Stevens missed the first race of the day. Went from 16th to 7th in the second, and then 7th to 3rd in the last one. So really good day for him. Luke Clark definitely picked up his performance after a subpar first race. He did really well in that final race. Could have been a second place perhaps if it weren't for that unsafe pit entry. He comes home in 4th. Chris Danes, yeah, lots of mistakes for him as I've already alluded to. And he comes home in 5th, still solid points for him. Jim Flanagan started 15th in that race, comes home in 6th, really good drive. So too Scott Malcolm, 16th to 7th. David Ayres, good kind of picking up other drivers' mistakes in 8th. One of those drivers who did make a mistake in the closing lap was Lane O'Connor. He finishes in 9th after starting on the front row. Anthony Jacobson finishes in 10th, the last of the drivers on the lead lap. And then Carl Hardy and Max Wright were 2 laps down. Anwar Smith, the championship leader, one of his few retirements this season, in 13th. Richard Warmingham in 14th. Colin Robinson finishes in 15th. And Richard Gafenku finishes in 16th, getting involved in that first lap collision.
we've got Scott Malcolm. We can have a little interview with. So we'll bring him up and have a little chat. I think.
So, Scott, can you hear me?
I can hear you loud and clear.
That third race, 16th to 7th, you just seem to drive around all the crashes up ahead of you.
Yeah, that's what I was planning on doing. I started last because of something that happened in the second race. And I thought I'll just try bone the race and just pick my way through the wrecks if there's anything. Pit a wee bit earlier than what I usually do. It seemed to work quite well.
Yeah, definitely. And sorry, Alex.
I was just watching your start, Scott, as well. You had to be super patient at the start there. So to finish where you did after being stationary for 15 seconds at Druids is even more of a great drive, actually. I know there was a bit of the carnage afterwards, which you were able to drive through, but yeah, you got the car stopped like so many others fail to do when there's an accident in front of them. So yeah, really good driving there, mate. And what a great comeback that was.
Yeah, I'm just watching that back on the broadcast there. You know, my spotter was saying go left, and the next time my spotter was saying go right, and I thought, make your mind up, which way do you want me to go? You know. And then I think I kind of got stuck behind Jim, and eventually he moved at the road. And I went, right, there we go, there's a gap, let's go for it. So, I managed to get away from it.
Yeah, and Le Mans next race, gonna be a slightly unique event with the slipstream effect. Is that a strong circuit for you? I've not got a strong circuit. I just turn up and drive and see what happens. I think I did pretty well at Le Mans and like BSRTC and all that kind of stuff. So I'll see how it goes. You know, I've been speaking to quite a few people about setups and stuff like that. So I'll put it in practice and see what happens. Yeah, we also saw you get caught up in an incident with Richard Warmingham, which saw the end of Richard's race. We very much saw it as a racing incident in the end. How did you see it?
I never touched him.
Wasn't me? It wasn't me?
No, honestly, at the time I never thought I never touched him.
I think there was from our screen there was the merest of contacts, but it was the merest of mere. But yeah, we absolutely called it a racing incident. Fantastic battling and out there.
I think he's got a wee bit of black paint in his back bumper. I think that's where he got.
Before we let you go, is there anyone that you'd like to thank?
Just the usual guys, the usual lot for putting on such good broadcasts, and all the other drivers for putting up with my crap, if you know what I mean. And just Automatic for all the sponsorship and everything like that. And see you on Thursday.
Yep, see you then. I think Alex will be racing against you, so yeah, looking forward to that one.
Oh, God help us.
Well, maybe. So I need to find a broadcaster first before, otherwise I'll be in the booth, unfortunately.
Oh, come on, Alex, get in there.
Well, you know, like I say, I want to, but yeah, otherwise we'll be skipping a broadcast. So.
You'll find somebody. Get Chaz in. He'll do a good job.
Yeah. Well, we'll try my best. Right, Sam, over to you, mate, to wrap up the show, I think.
Yeah, so 3 races today and 2 different winners. A great day for Lee Deemer in the end, and Raikkonen coming home in that 2nd place in the end. And next week, like I alluded to earlier on, is Le Mans. So certainly catch us for that one for round 9 of the BSR Grand Tour. We will see you then.